Aurora, good to have you. Thanks for being here. Good to see you again. So in Chico, California, where you live, the school board was recently voting to remove or keep that parental secrecy policy, which allows schools to keep parents in the dark about their child's gender transition. The board decided to keep it in place in a 3-2 vote. So 3-2 vote, keeping that policy in place. Is the fight over? What's the latest?
It's definitely not over. In fact, I think it's actually gotten the attention of parents even more. When this lawsuit first came to light here in Chico, California, I think people were really shocked that this was going on within our schools. And, there was a letter sent out by our superintendent saying there was no such thing as a secrecy policy. And then now there was a vote to keep the secrecy policy. So I think their eyes are starting to open up a little more on what's really going on here at our schools.
Yes, last time we spoke, you said your daughter told the counselor at her school that she felt like a boy. That counselor then changed her identity just a few minutes later, so almost immediately. So there was no further help for her to clear up any possible confusion she may have been feeling. Did your daughter want you to know?
Yeah, I think what happened with her is our family had been through some turmoil and she was confused about her sexuality. It's very mainstream right now, the transgender movement. And so she voiced those concerns to the counselor. And unfortunately, because this policy is in place, the school teachers and staff, under the guidance of this policy, have to keep it a secret from parents, or they're subject to possibly being fired.
Well, eventually you found out, the family found out. How was your daughter harmed by this in the process of all of this? And then do you think the parental secrecy policy is dangerous?
Oh, she went through some significant hardships during that time. She was very confused. You have to understand, she was only 11 years old and she was living two different lives. She was a boy at school and a girl at home. She changed very quickly. It was a really hard time, and I think it's very dangerous. I feel thankful that she eventually, opened up to a family member and we were able to understand what was going on. But keeping things from parents is just so wrong, especially when your children are confused about something so important like sexuality.
And I think most, if not all, parents would agree with that. So what do you say to trans activists who argue that this policy allows teachers and counselors to protect children from hate at home and can help stop youth suicide?
Well, I would say that maybe there should be a little bit more investigation to see if there's such hate at home. I think to have this policy in place and just assume that every family is not understanding or hateful is wrong, because you're robbing these children of the support that they, really need when they're going through these hard times. This policy that's in place right now, we're not talking about children that are 16 or 17 years old that are a little confused. We're talking about this policy pertains to children as young as TK. So that's 5 years old. My daughter was just 11. These are very young children that don't understand what even transgender really means or what it means to go through a social transition and the obstacles that they would face. And they need that support from the people that love and care about them the most.
Yeah, and if there's hate at home or some sort of danger, there are laws to protect children against that stuff. It could be separate from the sexuality of a child, especially that young. So you filed a lawsuit so that other children don't have to go through what you went through and how your daughter suffered. Do you have an update on that?
No, there's no updates at this time. Really, I just want families to know what's going on in our schools. When this happened to me, I just thought this was an isolated event. You could have never told me that this was a policy that's across our nation for our children. And so I think at this point, parents and families need to be aware of what's going on in our schools so you can protect your family and your children until laws can be passed to protect them, because this is just incredibly scary and damaging for our young, confused children.
Aurora Regino, thank you for being so brave and not being scared into silence. I know many moms appreciate your fight. So please keep it up and keep in touch. Keep me updated.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.